Renfield. Saw Renfield, starring Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage as Count Dracula. Nicholas Hoult plays Renfield, Count Dracula's servant, assistant. He's always been there from the very beginning, from the Bram Stoker novels all the way through the movies of past, of yesteryear, all the way till now. Except in this particular movie, by Renfield. It's not really about Dracula, even though Dracula plays a big role, obviously. This movie was fun to watch. What I saw in the trailer pretty much delivered in the movie, like what I expected. It was not really a horror movie. I mean, obviously, you have the horror elements there. It's a vampire, but it was funny. It was action-packed. My God, Renfield had, like, skills. You know how in the whole concept of Renfield eating insects and stuff like that? In this movie, and I don't know if they ever did this in the other stories, other adaptations, Renfield, he gets his strength and his power from eating these insects. Right? It's weird. And it's able to give him like superhuman abilities to fight off like everything and stuff. He is pretty much had it with Dracula's abuse. The movie is basically what to do when you've been in an abusive relationship for much too long, and Redfield has been in an abusive relationship for much too long. He goes to a support group to seek guidance, and he comes across a police officer. She also helps him. She's like the co-star also with him. She's struggling with a mob, one of those crime groups, crime mobs in the city, and then they get all mixed up in the melee and that. And in the process, he tries to help her, Renfield, but he also is trying to keep her and others he cares about safe from Dracula, because all Dracula wants is to feed. All he wants is to eat. And all he wants is to use him as a prop to make sure those things get done. We all have had that feeling from time to time. Have you ever been in an abusive relationship where you know it's wrong, but you can't break away? Renfield struggles with that whole thing in this story, which is relatable, but it's obviously to the extreme because we're talking about a vampire here. We're talking about Dracula. But the same principles apply. Like at one point, does one decide to break away finally and be independent and break away from the codependency that can develop when one is in an abusive relationship? Well, in Renfield, you have a extreme, clear-cut example of how that's done, with vampirism and a lot of action and fun and humor and a lot of gore. There's so much gore in this movie. It's comparable to the early Evil Dead films. Very bloody. Holy God, there's so much blood and gore and body parts all over the place that I was like, can the human body even carry that much blood? So I really liked Renfield. I give it 3 coffee cups. It was a fun movie to watch. I wouldn't necessarily buy it on Blu-ray or whatever. I would, watch it when it comes out on a streaming service. I would watch it that way. I appreciate and enjoy vampire movies, but I have very few of them that have to do with vampires on a hard copy. Because I guess for me, there's so many of them, so many versions. But this one was great. Nicolas Cage nailed it as Dracula. He was very, he really tried to get that Bela Lugosi look, which kind of worked, You're like, ooh, it was very Bela Lugosi here, I like that. And the way it was shot was very well, too. You could see the film, the filming of it, whenever there was a flashback, it had like a black and white kind of thing to make it feel like the early 1930s Dracula. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. I appreciated the callback to that kind of thing. So if you love vampires, if you're into Dracula, but you also have a sense of humor and you want to take this thing with a grain of salt because it's not the deepest thing ever, please go watch Renfield. It's a lot of fun. And it might help with people out there that are struggling with codependent relationships. I don't know if it'll help, to be honest with you, now that I think about it. But It kind of has all the right principles in mind, which is funny when you look at it. Like I can't have you in my life anymore, Dracula. You've made me feel terrible about myself, and now I gotta go find myself. It's that whole thing. That's the common theme that plays out. Codependency. What are you gonna do about it? All right. So I hope you enjoyed the movie. Talk to me. Let me know if you like this review. Please like and consider subscribing. This is Ralph Perez from Horror and Coffee, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.